Hey, builders, before we begin, I have a quick question for you. Are we connected on social media? The reason I'm asking is because as much as I love giving you the podcast episode every single week, I'd love to take our relationship deeper. So if we're not connected on social media, let's connect. I'm on LinkedIn at Robin_Mindsteps. I'm on Twitter at Robin_Mindsteps. I'm on Facebook at Robin Jackson. Please, let's connect so we can keep the conversation going. Now, on with the show. You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 251. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robin Jackson, and today we are continuing our series of the boring stuff. I really need a better name for this series. I don't have one, but we've been talking lately about some of the things that builders do to build the infrastructure of their schools, to be able to set their schools up to achieve their 100% vision. And today we're going to talk about how builders set goals. Because here's the thing. Everybody has big goals. You talk to any educator out there and you say, what are your goals for your school? And they're going to tell you, our goal is for, all of our kids to be successful. Or they're going to give you their SIP goal, which is 5% or 10%, which feels big to them because right now they're declining and they want to improve or whatever it is. Everybody has big goals. But the difference is, having big goals is not enough. Just because you want to do great for kids, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, good for you, great, but it doesn't mean anything. What really matters is how you pursue your goals. And so today I want to break down how builders tackle goal setting, which is very different than the way leaders and bosses do it, and walk you through the steps, step by step, on how you can set better goals. Now, right now in Buildership University, we are in quarterly planning season. So we do what we call a quarterly planning sprint, where we spend 2 days together, kind of taking a look back at last quarter, analyzing things, and then setting our goals and actions for the upcoming quarter. So right now we are planning for April, May, and June. And like I said, we do 2 days and we go through this process. Now we have a whole quarterly planning tool that everybody uses. We have an assessment to help you kind of look back on the previous year. I don't have enough time in the podcast to go through all of that, but I want to talk to you about the major steps that we take so that you can replicate the process on your own. And those of you who are in BU, look out for the quarterly planning sprint email reminder. Make sure you come live or check out the recordings so we can take a look at the quarterly plan. Okay, so the first thing that builders do differently is that most people kind of set a goal. They just pull a goal out of the hat. We want to increase by 5% this semester and make a 5% improvement. Or our goal this semester is every teacher is going to spend 90 minutes on reading. Or our goal this semester is we're going to have more student-to-student talk in classrooms. And then you create the walkthrough instrument, you go around and you do a little PD on it, and then you go around with your checklist and you check off those behaviors and you see. And I mean, if you achieve the goal or if you don't achieve the goal, what does it matter? Like, who cares, right? Because I don't even know why you're doing it, and nobody else knows why you're doing it either. These builders do things differently. What builders do is, instead of kind of just setting some random goal based on what they feel or what their instincts tell them or what their gut tells them, builders take a good look at their data. Builders take a good look at where they want to be and where they are right now. And their goals are designed to close the gap. Okay. So the first question that builders ask is not what do we want to do, but what problem are we trying to solve? And there are only 3 problems builders are ever trying to solve. There are only 3 problems you should only be trying to solve. And that's this. First of all, are we making sufficient progress towards our vision? Remember, builders set a vision for 100% success. So are we making sufficient progress towards our vision? Second, are we doing work that remains on mission? And third, are we staying in alignment with our core values? Those are the only 3 problems you have to solve. So people look at me and they say, well, what about other things? What about attendance? Attendance is a symptom of a deeper problem. So if you have a problem with attendance and you want to solve attendance, if you just go around and grab strategies, you're not solving attendance. If you really want to solve attendance, you have to ask yourself, is the attendance problem a result of the fact that the work we're doing is not moving us towards our vision? Is the attendance problem the result of the fact that the work we're doing isn't on mission? Or is it because we are somehow violating our core values? I'll give you a very specific example. Let's say that attendance is down, kids are not showing up for school, there's a lot of truancy, and parents aren't a whole bunch of help. Well, your vision for your school might be that 100% of students will complete Algebra 1 by the time they leave 8th grade. Your mission is that we are setting students up to make college an option for every kid. And our core values are keep it simple, stay curious, and I'm making these up. So keep it simple, stay curious, and focus on what matters most. Okay, so those are, I'm just pulling core values from various builders who are in BU. I'm just pulling their core values. Okay, so if that's the case, when you look at attendance, then you have to ask yourself the question, okay, so attendance is a problem, certainly, because if kids aren't in school, you can't get them all to be prepared for and complete Algebra 1 by the time they leave 8th grade. If your mission is you're setting kids up to be successful, to make college an option, then you have to figure out if they're not showing up for school, then how is college an option, right? But then let's go a little deeper on that one, because that one, the connection doesn't seem quite obvious until we do dig a little deeper. If students are going to be successful in college, they have to self-regulate. They have to show up. They have to do some of those executive functioning things like getting to class, like studying, like keeping up with their homework, that sort of thing. So when we really think about it, the attendance problem has at its core a mission problem, that the work we're doing is not setting kids up to make good decisions that they will need for college. The work we're doing is not creating those executive functioning skills that say, hey, we got to get kids to school. Now, I hear you. I hear those people out there right now who are saying, but what about attendance? It could be a parent issue. Or what about, the attendance could be that that there's, some lure of outside of school that kids are falling prey to. I hear you, but don't you think those pressures are going to be the same when kids go to college? And if kids can't learn now to manage those pressures, to say no to the lure of stuff outside of school so that they can get to class, they're not going to be successful in college. If kids can't start taking ownership over their own education, even if their parents don't support it, and middle school is a time when they can be able to do that, how are they going to be successful in college? So when you really dig down to it, this is an issue, not of just how do we solve attendance? Let's put more robocalls into action. It's really an issue of this is an area of our work where we are off mission. This is an area of our work that if our mission is to truly prepare kids for college, all of college, and to make college an option, that we have to address. So it stops becoming a tactical issue and it starts becoming a strategic issue, an issue that gets to the core of what we do. I'll give you another example. We were just talking about this in office hours in BU. We had a builder who had an issue around kids cheating. With AI, kids are, putting their homework in AI and having AI complete their homework and they're getting caught at it. And we were talking about strategies for prevention. And I said, well, okay, let's stop what problem are we really trying to solve, right? Are we trying to solve a cheating problem, or is cheating the issue of something else? And what we really found is that cheating was an issue of core values, that there are some core values, one of which is that you always prioritize learning, that this cheating was in violation of, which means that the students weren't really embodying or understanding those core values. Now, I could call kids in my office and I could say, hey, you need to stop cheating. I'm going to, put you in detention. I'm going to make you redo the work, whatever. Or teachers can do all kinds of gyrations in order to figure out how to make an assignment that is cheater proof. That's not a solution. Those are not solving the problems. Those are not eliminating the problems. Those solutions, quote unquote solutions, are simply mitigating the problem. And builders don't have time to mitigate problems because builders are interested in solving problems. So rather than taking a look and saying, oh, we've got an issue with cheating, or, discipline's a big issue, or attendance is an issue. And so we want to make a quarterly plan to address those issues. Builders go and say, okay, what's the deeper issue here? And there are only three things that it could be. Is this an issue? Is this a problem around our vision that we're not making the progress we want to make towards our vision? Is it a problem around a mission? We're off a mission somehow. Our work, we're focusing over here and we really should be focusing over here. Or is this a problem of core values, that somehow what we're doing is misaligned with our core values? Those are the only three issues. Everything that happens in your school boils down to one of those three things. And so the first question that builders ask when we're goal setting is, what problem am I trying to solve? Once you have the answer to that, and in our example with the attendance issue, it's going to be mission, then the next step is okay, what's your hypothesis? Okay, now this one is a huge departure from the way that most people are taught to do goal setting. Like everybody does these root cause analysis, so what problem are you trying to solve? Feels kind of like a root cause analysis. It's not, but it feels that way. But this one is, I don't see this in many problem solving or goal setting activities that I've seen out there. And it's so critical. And for me, it was a game changer, right? So I used to, even in my own work, just say, okay, here's the problem I'm trying to solve. And then I would say, here's the solution. And then let's make a plan to implement the solution. But there's a step that's missing. And this step has changed everything for me. It helps me to really focus on solutions that matter. Instead of just jumping to a solution, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to articulate the hypothesis around the solution. So here's what I mean by that. When you have a problem, you have no idea whether or not the solution that you are thinking about will solve the problem. You're just hoping. It's your best guess. Quarterly planning is that. It's a hypothesis. So instead of just kind of focusing on the solution and then getting mad when you don't get the results, what you do instead is you say, okay, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. Kids are not showing up for school. I think that it's an issue that really speaks to the fact that the work we're doing is off mission. We've got to, if we're really going to prepare kids so that college is an option, then we have to teach them the other skills that are involved, the things that kind of make or break kids in college anyway, like showing up to class and taking responsibility to show up, even if nobody else around you is supporting it, resisting the urge and the lure that's out there to be able to show up to class. And the hard skills about showing up to class, setting an alarm, getting yourself up, planning to get, we have to make sure that kids are doing that because they're not showing up to school because they're making other choices. And we have to show them how to make the right choices so that they will be able to do this on their own when they go to college. Okay. We know that that's the problem that we're really trying to solve. Okay. Now, our hypothesis is that if we teach these skills explicitly to students, if we reach out to kids who are not in school and go and work with them and talk to them and understand why they're not showing up, and then teach them the skills that help them show up and help them monitor their skill themselves and show them how to self-monitor and give them feedback on how they're doing about that. If we treat showing up to school like a skill and go out and teach it to all of our kids, we will see an increase in attendance. That's my hypothesis. Okay, Notice the difference between, oh, we can do this. And I read somewhere that somebody did this for that, their attendance increased. I have a friend in another school who did this and their attendance increased. Instead of doing that, builders are sitting down and they're saying, okay, if this is the real problem we're trying to solve, this is our hypothesis. This is what we believe. If we do this, then this will happen. And the beauty of treating it like a hypothesis is it takes your attention and your focus off of, oh, I've got to find the solution, I'm getting desperate, and puts your focus on action and really designing action that you believe will solve the problem. And because you can't know whether or not it's going to solve the problem, treating it like a hypothesis takes the pressure off. It keeps you from feeling like, oh, you're all desperate that you have to solve this thing right away. You are, and your team, you are simply saying, this is our best hypothesis, given the information we have right now. And then you treat your quarterly plan like a giant experiment. Now, when I say that, people get all caught up in a bunch about, oh, you can't be experimenting on kids. What do you think? You're doing it anyway, right? Because you don't know. But when you treat it like an experiment, you collect data differently, you approach the problem differently, you focus on actions, you pay more attention to results, you make better adjustments in real time. So if you actually treat it like an experiment, you're doing more to serve your kids and you are getting better as an organization as a result. So we set the hypothesis, if we take these actions, we will see these results. That's step 2. Step 3 is then to go through and define specifically what actions you are committing to taking. What actions will you take? And so you're going to go through and you're going to lay out those actions step by step. So in our example with the attendance thing, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the kids who are chronically absent and we're going to reach out and we're not going to try to get them to school. We're just going to try to figure out why they're not coming to school. What's happening that's keeping them from school? Because we need to confirm our suspicion that they're not coming to school because they find something better to do, or they're not coming to school because they don't have parental support, or they're not coming to school because school is boring. I don't know. And the only way I'm going to know is I'm going to talk to those kids. Okay, so that's action number 1. Hey, it's Robin here. Real quick, I just want to interrupt this episode for just a second because if you are enjoying what you're hearing, then would you mind sharing this episode with somebody else? So all you need to do is just go to your phone, if you're listening to it on your phone or your podcast player, and then click the 3 dots next to this episode, and it'll give you the option to share the episode. Now, if you do that, 3 things are going to happen. First, the person that you shared with is going to think you're a hero, especially if they're struggling with what we're talking about right now. They're going to love you. Secondly, you're going to feel good because you're going to get the word out about buildership and start building this buildership nation. And third, you will get my eternal gratitude because I really want to get this out to the world and you'd be helping me out. You'd be doing me a huge favor. So please share this episode with someone right now who's dealing with this same issue, someone you think would really benefit. And now back to the show. Step number 2 is that based on that data, we are going to look at what skills are implied by that. So if I'm not coming to school because school is boring, then what skills do I need to acquire to find ways to take school and make it not so boring for me? Also, I want to dig. What do you mean by boring? Are they not being challenged enough? And then we're going to adjust instruction to make sure that when we get them to school, it's a place that's engaging for them, and it also benefits all the other kids. If they say that they're not showing up because there's a lure of something else outside, what skills are involved in being able to say no to that and come to school? You can't compete with video games just by saying, well, let's make school more interesting like a video game. No, you can't. So what is the skill? We all do it. Why do I go to work instead of staying home and reading cookbooks, which is what I really want to do every single day? because I know that I have some skills that show me how to delay gratification to go and do what needs to be done. There's a skill set involved in that. It can be taught. It's not something that's inherent in me. It's something that I learned somewhere from my parents or from school. And so if I can understand what that skill is, what are the skills involved in that, and then I can work with those students and help them develop those skills, that I don't have to compete with whatever it is that they're preferring. Instead, I'm building their skill set to show them how to defer and delay that kind of gratification so they can come to school. So do you see, look, when you lay out the actions and you really think through the actions, you talk to the kids first, then I'm going to think through, okay, what are the skills I'm going to teach them to be able to help overcome that? And then how am I going to incentivize them to pursue these skills and monitor that? And then I build a plan that really deals with truancy. And then next step, okay, so step number 1, what problem am I trying to solve? Step 2, what is my hypothesis around the solution to that problem? Step 3, what are the actions I'm going to take? List them out. And then step 4, I'm going to say, how will I know if it's working, right? So remember, your hypothesis is, if we do this, we will get this result. Well, how do I know I'm getting that result? How do I know it's working? And so in Build Stream University, we talk a lot about, we build a scorecard, and we talk about leading indicators and lagging indicators. So leading indicators are things that tell me I'm on the right track, and lagging indicators are the final result. That's like my simplistic definition of it. So what we want to do is, we don't want to wait until the test. We don't want to wait until we pull data at the end of the year. We want to know before the test that whether or not we're going to hit our goal. We want something that's giving us really good feedback throughout the process. So if I do this, I say I'm going to get that. How do I know that we're making progress? If I teach kids these skills for showing up to school, I believe more kids will show up to school. So my lagging indicator is going to be attendance is increasing. The kids are showing up for school. But what are the leading indicators? The leading indicators are going to be things like, am I taking the actions that I said I was going to take? So if I say that I'm going to reach out to kids and speak to all the kids who are chronically truant and find out, why are they chronically truant? Did I do that? Because if I didn't do that, my hypothesis says that doing that's going to get my results. So if I didn't do that, I can't expect to see my results. I said that I was going to develop some sort of, curriculum around some of those executive functioning skills that help kids show up on time, do their work on time, all these other things. And so did I do that? That's a leading indicator. I said that I was going to sit down and teach these skills to kids. Did I do that? How do I know? How do I know what was being done? That's another leading indicator. So what I'm doing then is I am tracking whether or not I did the behaviors that I believe will get me to the results. I'm not just tracking the results. This is really important because a lot of times we set a goal, we're going to increase by 5%, and then we wait 3 months and then we check, did we increase by 5%? No? Aw, too bad. All right, maybe we'll set a goal for 3% next time. And then we wait another 3 months. Did we increase by 3%? No? Too bad. And we keep that pattern going over and over and over again. And it takes us forever to get anywhere. One of the reasons why builders get stuff done so fast and see results so quickly is because they aren't waiting until the end for results. They are tracking not just the results, but they're tracking, are we doing the things that we said we were going to do to get the results? I want to go on a tangent here for a little bit, just a slight one. I need to do a little bit of a rant, okay? So rant warning coming up. People tell me all the time, I believe in every kid every day. I believe all means all. I believe that every kid has potential, and they tell me that they believe in every kid. And I say, no, you don't. I know, I don't doubt their sincerity. I don't doubt that they say that, but they're not taking action. When I look at their SIP plans, they don't believe in every kid because their SIP plan says we're only going to increase achievement by 5%. If you believed in every kid, your SIP plan wouldn't say we're going to grow 5% this semester. You're not going to get to every kid by growing 5% a semester. There's some kids you're just going to miss. Okay. They say to me, all means all, but then they put systems in place that don't do anything when the kids fail. They don't have any system in place to catch kids who fail or prevent failure from happening in the first place. They say to me, oh, we really want to make this a safe place for all kids. And then they do the same school that everybody else is doing. They don't take specific action to do that. Oh, we believe in restorative practices. Great. But are those restorative practices actually preventing kids from misbehaving again in the future? Or do you just throw a couple of things into your existing discipline program and call it restorative practices? Are you tracking that? Are you adjusting the work that you're doing to make sure that every child is able to go back into the classroom and never, ever make a bad choice again, or make the bad choices that they made again? You see, people tell me all the time, oh, I believe in this. But when I look at the way that they set their goals, when I look at the goals themselves, when I look at the systems in their school, they tell a different story. If you really believe in 100% success, do your systems reflect that? Are your systems set up so that 100% of your kids are successful? If you really believe in 100% success, are you setting goals that get you there? Or are you doing the same little sorry incremental goals that you were taught to do that everybody else is doing? So rant over now. But when you are doing your goal setting, if you set a goal and you don't have a process for tracking behaviors to make sure that you are adjusting your behavior to achieve that goal, then your goal is nothing but a wish. It's not a goal. If you really, really want to see different in your school, you can't just randomly pick new behaviors, because so what? Those new behaviors are creating more work, more stress for teachers. Builders find that the more you do this work and the more you streamline your systems and the more you get dialed in to solving the right problems, the less work you're doing, not more. There's a lot of stuff you're getting rid of, not just adding stuff more onto people's plates. So the first step, and let me just summarize and recap how builders set goals. The first step is, what problem are you solving? If you don't understand what problem you're solving and you're just setting random goals, you're just wasting everybody's time. Your goals should be designed to solve a problem. Can I go on another rant here real quick? I said I was going to summarize. I'll do that in a second, but I got to go on another rant, because a lot of times people say, oh, I'm solving this problem, and they're not solving the problem. They're mitigating it. When builders say we are solving a problem, what we're doing is eliminating it so that it no longer exists. And that's a totally different mindset. People say all the time, we dealt with attendance last year and it's cropping up again. Then you didn't solve it. What builders do is they say, this is something that's getting in the way of our vision, mission, or core values. And we got to get it out the way so that we can reach our vision for our students. We can live out our mission and we can stay in alignment with our core values. So you have a problem with cell phones? Well, you don't just mitigate it, you solve it. Scott, I love his story. Scott had a issue with cell phones a year ago with his students, and it was a big problem that was getting in the way of stuff. They made that their quarterly plan. They built a 90-day plan around that, and in 90 days, cell phones were not an issue. You talk to Scott a year later, he's just like, it's just not an issue anymore. I don't even think about it anymore because it's not an issue. There are other builders who have issues with things like discipline. They're getting too many referrals in the office, and they spent their 90 days developing a plan to eliminate that disciplinary issue. It's just not an issue anymore. So when you sit down and you quarterly plan, if your plan isn't designed to eliminate an issue so that it is no longer an issue, so you don't have to think about it anymore, your plan's not doing anything. Okay, second rant over. I think I'm done. I'm out of rants for today's episode. Let's go back and recap. This is how builders create goals. This is how builders do goal setting. First thing, what problem are you solving? And there are only 3 problems that you need to be solving in your school right now. Is this something that is a threat to our vision? Is this something that is keeping us from achieving our vision? Is this something that is taking our work off mission and we need to get back on mission? Or is this something that is violating our core values? If you can't understand the problem in the context of your vision, mission, and core values, it's not really a problem. You don't need to be dealing with it. So what problem are you solving? The other stuff, discipline, attendance, all that stuff, those are symptoms. What problem are you solving? And it's always going to be about vision, mission, and core values. Second step, what's your hypothesis around how that problem can be solved? And when you're developing that hypothesis, I don't want a hypothesis that's going to mitigate the problem. Builders are saying, what's my hypothesis? How can I make this problem go away so I never have to deal with it again? Okay, that's step 2. Step 3, what are the actions that I need to take? So my hypothesis is if I do X, I will get Y. So what is X? If I do X, what are the specific actions that I need to take? Okay. And then you list every single action out. That's your quarterly plan. And then step number 4, if I do X, I get Y. So how will I know I'm getting Y? What are the leading and the lagging indicators that let me know I'm on the right track, I'm making progress, and I'm eliminating that problem once and for all? Here's the benefit of thinking about quarterly planning this way. When you go through quarterly planning this way, you have so much focus. You stop wasting time doing a whole bunch of stuff that you look up halfway through the quarter and you realize it doesn't even matter, and then you abandon it. You don't get distracted when you have a quarterly plan this way because you're dealing with real problems, real challenges, and you are eliminating them. So there's built-in motivation and incentive. When you quarterly plan this way, you focus on actions, not results. So it's just an experiment. You are doing your best to figure it out. And as you go through, as you start to see, as the data starts telling you, your leading indicators start telling you, hey, listen, these actions aren't getting the results you want, you have opportunity to change in real time so that at the end of the quarter, you actually have some results because you've been taking the right actions. So you're building discipline. You're making your school better because you're focusing on taking the right actions, not just getting the right results. And so when you plan this way, your goals are more than just wishes. Your goals are actually things that you can look back and say you've accomplished. They are problems that you've eliminated. And every time you do that, you get closer and closer and closer to your vision, mission, and core values. You get closer and closer and closer to building the school that your students deserve and that you and your staff deserve as well. Because instead of just randomly pulling some goal out of a hat or putting a haphazard plan together that you abandon halfway through the semester, or creating an elaborate plan about something that doesn't even matter, you are focused and planning to eliminate your biggest challenge like a builder. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me, where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today. Hey, it's Robin here, and I want to thank you for listening to today's episode. Now, if you have a question about today's episode, or you just want to keep the conversation going, did you know that we had a School Leadership Reimagined Facebook group? All you need to do is go to Facebook, join the School Leadership Reimagined Facebook group. Now, there are going to be a couple of questions that we ask at the beginning because we want to protect this group and make sure that we don't have any trolls come in and that it really is for people who are principals, assistant principals, district administrators. So make sure you answer those questions or you won't get in. But then we can keep the conversation going. Plus, we do a lot of great bonus content. I'm in there every single weekday. So if you have a question or comment about the episode, let's continue the conversation. Join us at the School Leadership Reimagined Facebook group. And I'll talk to you next time.